And we're live, Mike.
Dig the music, man. I've always dug this one.
Good little pick-me-up music. Good little vibe in the morning. Got a lot to talk about today. Talking about the KD to SA trade rumor mill. And what does Shams know? What does Shams know, Mike?
Body language, baby. You got to read the body language when it comes to it all.
Yeah, did you see that funny video I sent you yesterday? I texted it to you about that comedian.
Yeah.
We got some people joining us this morning. Good morning, Tony Ornelas. Elias is here. This morning, fellas. Doing some yard work this AM. Yeah, there you go, Mike. He's doing yard work.
I miss doing yard work, man. The house that we're renting over here, they do it for us, man. And I love mowing the yard.
Jonathan Pettis is in the house. Sam Salinas, what's up, Sam? Roy's here. Mario Cavazos, what's up, Mario? Sam knows that KD is not going to be his first. And JC, Special Leaf, what's up, JC? Good morning.
Dude, JHNSB is gonna already make me cry in the morning.
Why?
How about that boy J-Dub? Jalen Williams just with 40 points. But we got Sohan. We got Sohan.
He has colorful hair, Mike.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We talk for about an hour, 15, hour and a half. Sports, pop culture, nostalgia, lots of Spurs talk because, again, the NBA draft is 8 days away. We're going to get into all the rumors. What does Shams know? Shams Charania of ESPN, do you believe in the body language? Do you believe that maybe he knows something but can't say something yet? We'll get into that. The asking price for Kevin Durant might be too high from a Spurs fan perspective. Found it interesting also, Joe, a comment that our good friend Carolina Teague made on Twitter today, asking if the Spurs organization is the face of success or is it the face of failure? And I found that to be a very interesting question because some people are coming out going, well, count the rings, baby, 5. And it's like, dude, that was over a decade ago, right? Why do you got to bring up old crap? Why you got to bring it up? So we'll get into that a little bit. Tyrese Halliburton. He had an epic run through the playoffs. First round, second round, Eastern Conference Finals, right? He was called the most overrated player in the NBA according to his peers. The Athletic and New York Post reporting that before the playoffs started. That's the second year in a row he was called the most overrated player. Last night, Game 5, 0 shots made, 4 points. Was it the injury? Come on, man. There was something going on when it comes to that, so we'll talk about the NBA Finals. We'll get into your questions as well, your comments and things like that. But if you want to be part of the show, you can be part of the chat, which is powered by MCS General Contracting, or you can send us a link, Joe. So tell us how that works, Joe.
Yeah, so if they want to go ahead and be part of this show and go ahead and share any links, videos, things of that nature, and they want us to talk about it during the show, use our media share. Just go ahead and text us at 830-391-9164, and we'll go ahead and show that during the show. It's a way to be interactive with us.
Very nice. Yeah, be interactive with us, 830-391-9164. Send us, I don't know, what photos, send us articles,
Links,
whatever,
anything.
links to things that you want us to talk about. If we like it, this is a rapid fire show, baby. This is a rapid fire show. Joe, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Getting ready to go ahead and talk some sports here, and the chat's already lively as always. And I just saw a funny video, man. I'm going to have to show this. I hate to do this to you, bro, but it's time to cook, man. They have this guy showcasing his football skills out there on the
Okay,
field. It's hilarious, Mike.
let's see what you got.
Hold on, hold on. I thought this is hilarious. I'm gonna go and share it with you guys right now. All right, I had to post it. I had to post it. All right. So let's go ahead and check this out. It's like, man, I really thought this was Mike here showcasing his skills.
Oh, dude, I'm not even close to being that big, dude. Get the F out of here. Half the MFers on this stream right now are bigger than me, dude. Come on, man. The guy
And
is that guy
rock. Oh boy,
sneaky
got
athletic.
rock. Sneaky athletic, brother. That's the
No,
sneaky
no.
athletic.
Sneaky athletic is a phrase from what show again? Because we used to use a phrase deceptively athletic.
Damn, man, that made me laugh, man.
That's funny, dude.
Wait till Jeff sees that one, dude. Laid out, damn right. And look, Alex Noriega. They said, "What up?" at Alex Noriega. He's in here seeing you showcase. Well, he can attest to the sneaky athleticism that you have.
Yeah, over the years. I tell you what, though, man. Yesterday was the first day in about 3 months that my knee felt good. I'm not saying that the race between me and Chris Leja is back on. What I'm saying is that yesterday was the first day in 3 months that my knee felt normal. I was in Laughlin, Nevada with my family, and there was a point when I couldn't walk about a week ago, man. Like all the inflammation had flared up again. But I've been giving it some rest, been doing the cold compress, taking these meds and having these creams put on my leg. Dude, I'm feeling better, man. Going up the stairs is a little bit ginger right now, but as far as walking and, I did 3 miles the other day. I'm fine when it comes to that, dude. So I'm getting back, baby. I'm getting back. So I'm excited about that. Huh?
Oh, and you want to race Leja?
I mean, he says he could beat me in his boots. That's what he said one time. He could beat me in his boots.
I got my money on Leja, bro. I got my money.
Leja is like 15 years younger than me. Speaking of Leja, that's part of MCS General Contracting. I've got my MCS Yeti over here. Got Coke Zero coursing through my veins because I need to have caffeine, dude. I can't drink coffee. I don't understand how people drink coffee every day. This morning I got up, made Chica some coffee, put the creamer in there, the no sugar creamer, all that stuff. She loves it. She downs it. She drinks coffee all day long. I don't get it, man. I've never been able to drink coffee. I'm a Diet Coke / unsweet tea kind of guy. Luka Doncic would be upset with me because I do unsweet tea, not sweet tea. But let's talk about the NBA Finals. Let's switch it up. We've been talking a lot about the Spurs. To be honest with you, Joe, I'm exhausted from the Spurs.
You're tired of oh, God.
I just want it to be over, right? Just draft Dylan Harper. Trade for KD if you want. I'm just exhausted when it comes to it all. But the NBA draft is in 8 days. We'll talk about that. What did Shams know and when did he know it? Is he tipping his hand? Does he have a bad poker face? We'll get into that. NBA Finals last night, Joe. Your Pacers are down 3-2. You had a very high confidence level in your Pacers, your Sancha team. You didn't call them your Sancha team, but we're going to just say that they are because they kind of have been. You've been in love with them throughout the playoffs because they've been that team of destiny, right? And we talk about this. The team of destiny always goes far, right? But the one thing about the Cinderella teams don't win, man. They don't win it all. They get close, but they never win it all. You saw Indiana go into Oklahoma City, win game 1 convincingly. They split the first 2 games. They go up 2-1. What happens? OKC wins back-to-back games. It's the first time Indiana has lost back-to-back games in the playoffs. Now it goes back to Indiana, but we know one thing for sure, Joe. Thunder in 5, not going to happen. We also know that Pacers in 6, not going to happen either. Joe, your confidence level for your Indiana Pacers now down 3-2.
I still got the Pacers, man, winning the whole damn thing. I still see his Pacers winning this game, but the next one because it's a must win. But I still see Pacers in 7 now.
Okay,
6. So I think the Pacers still going to win the whole thing. It's going to be team of destiny type of thing. OKC is looking good right now, but they need to go ahead and win that one more game. That closeout game's the hardest one to get. So let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, let's stop this nonsense about this being a boring series. This has been a hell of a series. It's been fun. It's been scrappy. Dude, we complain about the officials all the time, and there have been some SGA calls that he has gotten that have been whack. I get that. But for the most part, the officials are letting them get away with a lot of tugging, a lot of push-offs, a lot of sidesteps. I've enjoyed it, Joe. I've enjoyed this series more than I have an NBA Finals in recent memory because of a variety of different things. You have two scrappy teams. You have two teams that have been built, not bought, right? The Pacers building that franchise, and I know they got a lot of people that they brought in from Obi Toppin to but they have Miles Turner, who's been there for like a decade, right? Halliburton, who came in early in his career, not drafted by them, but he came in early in his career. And then I had a good friend of mine yesterday go, my God, man, Oklahoma City, how did they get so good so fast? Well, that Paul George trade is how it happened because they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got 4 first-round picks. One of them became Jalen Williams, who last night had 40 points and broke my heart by having 40 points. But don't worry, we have Sohan, dude. We have Sohan, right?
Oh, man.
Oklahoma City coming out there and showing how good they can be, how young they can be and still be good. Indiana coming together with players like Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell, those types of players coming in there and having their heroics, Naismith and all of those guys. To me, it's been fun, and it kind of shows to you, Joe, that maybe the superstar era, the big three eras, are kind of over. Because we didn't see Luka and LeBron advance. We didn't see Boston go very far. I know Tatum got hurt towards the end, but we didn't see them get very far. It's team basketball that's winning. And again, we're going to have, 7 champions in 7 years? But this one's different, Joe. It's team basketball that's winning. It's fun to watch, Joe. It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. You know, it's not, let's say this one doesn't have a team from, this year's final doesn't have a team from Texas, and it doesn't have a team from
California,
LA, California. So it's good. It's something new, something different, a little fresh here. It's like you said, it's been exciting. It's been competitive. This last game, not so much. It was still a little competitive there. Pacers tried to get back into it. It's just, it just didn't have it, man. When it came for the offensive stance of things, they just couldn't knock down buckets. They couldn't get things going, but you have to attribute that more to adjustments that OKC made. They came out and played a really good defensive game from start to finish. Got to tip your hat to OKC, and you got to get the next one, because if not, it's win or go home.
You've got to get the next one. That's the big deal, man. That's the big deal. If your Pacers have any chance in this, your Sancho team has any chance on this, it has to be on Halliburton coming back. Halliburton yesterday, 0 field goals, 0 steals, 0 blocks, but he played like 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Earlier in the game, they said he aggravated a lower leg injury that he suffered earlier in the season and that he wasn't himself. Joe, do you believe that the injury prevented him from playing well? Because, again, he did get hurt, but he also did play 34 minutes. Or do you think maybe he just stunk up the bed, dude? He just laid an egg last night.
I'm going to call it a spade. He just shit the bed, man. He just had a poor showing, man.
That's the phrase I wanted to use, but I didn't.
No, he came out. He shit the bed, bro. He had a bad game. He couldn't knock down any shots. Overall, he just got out of rhythm, and you could attribute that to OKC, just, bodying him a little bit more. You just got to be smart with the basketball. If you're not able to knock down shots, you're not knocking down your jumpers, it's not falling, put your head down, go to the free throw line and knock down some shots, get yourself going, help your team in another capacity. It just felt like he was just MIA last night. He's missing in action. He was just a dude out there, just a body. I think they should have just pulled him and set him on the bench and just say, you know what? Let me put somebody else in there and give them a shot.
Well, they put TJ McConnell in, and he went out there and did a fantastic job yet again. He struggled in game 4, but games 3 and 5, lights out. McConnell brought the team back. At one point, late in the game, I believe it was late towards the end of the third quarter, Indiana got the game back within 2. And I was thinking to myself, here we go. Here we go again. But that's as close as they got it. Oklahoma City just floored it from there and ran them out of the gym the rest of the way. McConnell, though, there was one point when they showed him with the ball, bringing the ball up the court. He looked spent. Like, what do you mean I'm playing more than 20 minutes? What do you mean? He looked like he was just going just level 11 the entire time, as fast as he can go, with as much heart as he can play with. But dude, he can't play 35 minutes that way, Joe. He's a bench player for a reason. He's their spark plug. He's not going to go in there and take over for Halliburton, which is basically what they asked him to do because Halliburton sucked so bad yesterday. Again, the score was 120-109. Indiana falls to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has up 3-2. Last night, McConnell, 22 minutes. It was 8 for 14, 18 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. It's that type of player that I like, Joe. It's that type of player. Yeah. But Halliburton, again, 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, had 6 assists, only 4 points in 34 minutes. Meantime, on the other side of the board, you got Jalen Williams with 40 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Chet Holmgren with 9 and 11. And, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 31 and 10. They got double digits from Cason Wallace and from Andrew Wiggins as well. Oklahoma City, better team, dude. They're the better team. And the better team always wins a 7-game series. It just is what it is. And Oklahoma City with Jalen Williams having his coming out party. Jalen Williams is the truth, man. That guy is a super stud. And the better he gets and the more all-star game appearances he has and things like that, we're going to look back at this Spurs franchise and think to ourselves, we could have had him. We could have had him, but we didn't. And for all the Spurs fans who are like, well, half the league passed on him. No, they didn't. Okay, because, again, Sochan was picked at 9. The next forward to be picked was Jalen Williams.
And look at this. What does Tavarius say here? Spurs could have had Jalen Williams. And that's what makes you sad.
And it makes me sad because back in the day, they're like, well, Jimenez, who was on your board? That was a bad year for the NBA draft. It really was. Spurs had 3 first-rounders and whiffed on all 3. Jeremy Sochan, Malachi Branham, and Blake Wesley. They're all just dudes. They're all just dudes.
Give a shout-out to her, to our metal here. Leha.
Oh, look. Leha said it the exact same way.
Yeah, MCS General Contracting, he says. Spurs drafted 3 dudes in one draft, and 2 of them don't even play, and one of them they can't even shoot for shit except in empty gyms.
Except in empty gyms with nobody in him, nobody on it in his face.
Not even
right?
the broom in his face, Mike.
Yeah. Meantime, Jalen Williams goes off for 40 points, and you have people on ESPN comparing him to Scottie Pippen. Jeez. And that was the very next forward drafted in that draft because 10 and 11 were guards. 12 was Jalen Williams, whose brother I remember back in the day. I'm not gonna sit here and have 2020 vision when it comes to it all. I was the first on board, Joe, when it came to Stephon Castle. I saw him play in November, December of a couple of years ago, and I was like, that's the guy I want on the Spurs roster. And the Spurs got him, and I was happy, right? Alperen Sengun, I was all about Sengun going into that draft. We passed on him for Primo. The one thing about Jalen Williams, I'm not going to say that I was all on board with him, but what I was intrigued by was the fact that he came from an NBA background, pedigree. His brother plays in the NBA, and I thought that meant something. I thought that it was like, hey, his brother plays in the league. His brother's a decent player. It shows that it's in the blood. It's in the family. I liked that. I never saw Sochan highlights in college from Baylor go, God, we need to get that guy.
Yeah.
We need to get that dude. I never got it. Never understood it. But we go off and say something about Jalen Williams. My goodness, the more we watch him play, we see that he's going to be not only a star, but potentially a superstar in this league. That 1-2 punch that you have of SGA and Jalen Williams is going to be special, Joe. And I don't know how Indiana is going to overcome that back-to-back games in 6 and 7.
I think Indiana can do it. I just think Indiana has a deeper team when it comes to their bench play. But the only thing is you got to get production out of said bench. You got to get other players to step up. If Halliburton's not cutting it, somebody else is going to have to make those points. And that's what this is going to be about. is Indiana going to have a coming out party from some unknown hero? That's what it's going to take in order to go ahead and beat OKC in these next two games. Because if you don't win these next two, you're done. You're going to go home. You got to at least win this next one. And like I said, take it one game at a time. Well, you don't have a bigger game than the game that's coming up here. So OKC has an opportunity, and Indiana Pacers are going to be fighting for their life. It's like a cornered animal. They can be unpredictable at times, and I think Indiana needs to go ahead and come out, and they have to have some other people step up and knock down a damn shot. That's what it boils down to. But I said it, and I'm going to say it again. I think what's going to happen here is that Indiana again will play from behind. They play better when they're down, and then they're going to come back in that fourth quarter. I think that's what it's going to take for them to win.
I think it's going to be a 7-game series at this point. That crowd in Indiana, they love the Pacers. And the Pacers players, especially the bench, feed off of that energy. So I think it's going to go back to a Game 7, and anything can happen in a Game 7, right?
Anything, man.
It's just whoever has the hot hand, because we don't know if Naismith something's going to go off and have a hot hand, or Siakam, or any of these guys, right? But Halliburton needs to be Halliburton of the last 2 rounds. Because if he goes out there and wets the bed yet again and just lays a turd on the mattress, they're not going to win. But I feel he'll come back. It's going to go to Game 7, but man, that OKC Thunder, that franchise is hungry. And I'm going to tell you what, Joe, that is going to be the best thing for the Spurs OKC to win. To see Chet Holmgren with a title.
Holding up that trophy.
Holding up that trophy. If you want to light a fire under the ass of this team, this Spurs franchise, let them see the youngest team in the NBA, the youngest team in nearly 50 years win an NBA title. Let them see that.
You think Wemby's watching the game?
No, he ain't doing crap, dude.
In the Shaolin Temple, he's not watching it. They got Wi-Fi there, Mike. Like I told you.
Yeah, he's like this on his phone. Why Indiana winning this series would be good for the Spurs in the sense that it'll prove that you don't need to have a team full of superstars to win a title. But if you see Oklahoma City win, and they start raising banner after banner after banner, Joe, that better light a fire under what's going on, that team, that whole franchise there at the Rocket La Cantera. Now, here's the thing, Joe. There was somebody on here who said on our stream here, Jesse A., coming out and saying, Mike is the first to say anything about Castle and the first to ship him out for Harper. I don't want Castle gone. I want Castle and Harper to coexist. That's the thing. And that it's very possible that the whole De'Aaron Fox thing might not be a long-term thing. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is going to be looking for that big major deal, right? But that doesn't mean that he's going to sign a deal for the Spurs and then stay the whole duration of the deal. Maybe he signs it to be shipped out. Doesn't have to be this year or next, but maybe the back end of that contract, he gets shipped out. Because Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle have a very similar skill set, other than Harper's lefty and Castle's righty. But yeah, Jeff Garcia, who's watching the show from Locked On Spurs, knows that I was really big on Castle before anyone else was. I was one of the first, if not the first, to go, that guy who's playing for UConn needs to be a Spur. But what I also identified, Joe, is that Harper's better. And Spurs fans get in their feels, well, he's never played an NBA game. Yeah, I know.
It's because
Harper
is
better.
Enamored with Castle because he won the Rookie of the Year. He got the trophy. Spurs fans are all in love with Castle. And he played good. He had a good season. He had a good rookie season. Great for him. And I don't understand why they have to have comparisons between the two. One is better than the other. What does it matter if you have them both on your team and they're both ballers and they're going to help you win games? The fuck does it matter?
It doesn't matter at all, dude. It doesn't matter at all. I equate it to this, dude. And I equate it to like, there's certain players who have a better pedigree, who have a better skill set. And because you're saying that they're better, doesn't mean that the person that you have is bad. It just means one's better, one has a higher ceiling. Think about it this way. Castle was drafted number 4 in a good or a bad draft? A bad draft, right?
Yeah.
Harper is being drafted number 2 in a good draft and is the consensus number 2 from every single mock draft out there. Doesn't matter if it's ESPN, The Athletic, FS1, doesn't matter. USA Today, Sportsline, whomever, NBA.com. The consensus number 2 in a very good deep draft versus the number 4 player in a bad draft. That tells you right there, Joe, that tells you, Spurs fans, that Dylan Harper is a special player. There's a reason why Brooklyn is kicking the tires on the Spurs. There's a reason why Phoenix is asking for the number 2 pick for Kevin Durant. There's a reason for all that, and the reason is that guy's a really good player. He's a very, very good player with a pedigree. His dad won 5 NBA titles. Do you think that maybe that dad might be able to get in his ear and tell him, coach up his own son? Of course he could. Dylan Harper is probably the most exciting non-number 1 player on the Spurs in history.
Look what Caps 210 is saying. He says, why are we putting Castle and Harper against each other? It's not us.
Put them together.
First Twitter, man.
Let's put them together. Joe, Spurs could obviously get excited about number 1 overall picks, right? Wemby in 2023, Robinson in 87. You could be excited about the number 1 overall pick, but that's kind of lame, because it's like, of course you're excited, the number 1 overall pick. But the claim that I'm making, Joe, that Dylan Harper is the most exciting guy that we have drafted in history of the Spurs organization in the first round. Because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, Sean Elliott at 3 back in 1989? No one was excited about Tony Parker being picked at number 29 back in the early 2000s. No one was excited about Manu Ginobili being picked in the 50s, right? They ultimately became Hall of Famers. Got it.
Now, when Manu Ginobili's name was mentioned, Spur fan was probably like, it's draft and stash.
Draft and stash, right.
Draft and stash. First thought that came to their head. And then the brother comes out, and he's Obi-Wan Ginobili. The flowing locks, putting the ball behind his back, dunking, doing the nutmeg and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, Mira, Manu can play. Mm-hmm. Who knew? Look at that. Look what happened. He went on to become a Hall of Famer. Same thing, like you said, with Tony Parker. Tony Parker came in very young in the league. I mean, he was barely, 19 years of age, something like that. And he was getting raked over coals by Coach Pop. Every play that he would screw up, Coach Pop was grabbing him by his jersey, hitting him on the back of the head, cursing him out in front of the court, in front of God and everybody, man. He ripped Tony a new asshole, dude, out there on the court,
Tavarius asking the question, Joe, and I remember those days, man. I remember Speedy Claxton coming in to finish off games and playoffs and things like that.
Yeah,
and Pop
would yank him. Pop would yank TP9.
Tavarius asking the question, how does Harper fit? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he fits or not. He's the better talent. He's the best talent. The better question is, who does he replace? Because everyone's there saying that they're pitting Harper against Castle. Harper and Castle are going to coexist perfectly fine. The question is, of these 2 players, who's the one that's going to be out the door, the odd man out? Is it De'Aaron Fox or Devin Vassell? That's the better question.
Yeah.
Because it's a no-brainer that Castle's going to be there because Castle's a rising star. Rookie of the year. Averaged 14 points per game as a rookie. He's going to get better. Hopefully his shooting improves. Harper is a better version of Castle. Those 2 together are gonna ascend. Fox and Vassell. One of those guys, Joe, Fox and Vassell, next 12 months, what's their name going to be, Joe?
What?
Gone. So it has nothing to do with Castle. It has nothing to do with how does Harper fit. The question is, how does Devin Vassell fit? The question is, how does De'Aaron Fox fit? And if I had to pick between the 2, give me Fox.
And look at what Leo's saying. He says Harper replaces Keldon for sure, possibly Vassell. No lies detected. You know,
None whatsoever. So what does Shams know, Joe? What does Shams know? Let's show the video of this. If you can cue that bad boy up. Because Shams Charania of ESPN, obviously he's the guru of the NBA draft. He's the guru of all that's going on, right? He's the Adam Schefter of the NBA now that Woj is at St. Bonaventure as the GM of that college franchise over there. So on ESPN, Iman Shumpert talking about Kevin Durant and where Kevin Durant should go. Again, there are reports out there that the Knicks no longer have interest in trading for Kevin Durant, so the Knicks appear to be out. Kevin Durant has said he wants to go to either San Antonio, Houston, or Miami, but there's other teams out there like the Minnesota Timberwolves who have come out and said that they're interested, but KD has no interest in them. So they're asking Iman Shumpert at the NBA Finals what his thoughts were on this. And keep an eye, and if we can have full screen on this, Joe, keep an eye on what Shams Charania looks like when Shumpert mentions the Spurs.
And here we go. And this is courtesy of ESPN, by the way, the video.
I think he would only want to be playing for a championship, and that makes the most sense in Minnesota, right? But we're talking about a basketball point. I think that him being in San Antonio and just having that coaching, having that organization behind him, you talk about keeping a guy healthy, you talk about making sure a guy doesn't play too many games, know the ups and downs at the end of the career. I think they just understand. I think he would only want to.
What is Shams doing? Okay, Joe. So who do we have to the left of him, right? On the right of the screen here. You have Brian Windhorst, right? Yeah. Remember Brian Windhorst a couple of years ago did the whole connecting of the dots when it came to, I believe it was LeBron James, right?
Yep.
It is connecting the dots, and that became a meme. That image of Shams Charania, if in fact Kevin Durant does come to the Spurs, will be the next meme in the NBA, especially for Spurs fans, by the way, because it looked like he wanted to say something.
Look at that. They zoomed in on his brother.
Why is he looking into the camera when the person being interviewed, Iman Shumpert, is to the left? Do you see Brian Windhorst looking into the camera?
No,
he looked at the camera twice. Like, you know what? You know what? Do you know what that looks like, Joe? One of your kids ever mess up, and one of your kids ever say something stupid, and you're like, "Did you do something stupid? Did you do something bad?" And they give that look of guilt.
You know what
That's what that look is.
You know what it was? Is that Shams was probably pissed because he's like, this mofo trying to go out here and release break news before I do. Because there's a time and a place, you know, but he's like, he's just casually saying it, and he's trying to keep his game face on. But look at him. He's like, this motherfucker. Look at him. Let's play it again, dude. That shit's funny.
Having that coaching, having that organization behind him.
There's something about it. So here's the thing. The phrase where there's smoke, there's fire. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that the Spurs are trying to get Kevin Durant. I honestly believe that that's happening, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Because when Kevin Durant ultimately signs with, for example, the Rockets or the Heat or the T-Wolves, there are going to be those Spurs fans out there who are going to be like, well, you see, it was never going to happen. And it's not that it's never going to happen. Is it going to happen at the price point at which the Spurs are willing to do business? Because as much crap as we give Brian Wright when it comes to his drafting ability, aside from the no-brainers, right? He gets no love for drafting Wemby. He gets no love for drafting Castle. And he's going to get no love for drafting Harper because those are the three most obvious picks of all time, Joe. So, no, he doesn't get flowers for those. But he does get flowers for his trades. What he was able to do for getting De'Aaron Fox, Thad Young, DeMar DeRozan, Derek White, you go on and on and on. The Spurs have been getting these assets. So I trust Brian Wright when it comes to a trade. But the idea of, well, the Spurs aren't going to get him because the Spurs didn't try is probably nonsense. Probably the Spurs are trying. It's just like, asking price might be too high. A lot of people are saying, Joe, that the Spurs could trade back in the draft, maybe do a 3-player trade where the Spurs drafted number 4, give up Dylan Harper, drafted number 4 to get a VJ Edgecombe, for example, and give up the Harrison Barnes and Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan in order to somehow get Kevin Durant. But we'd have to give up the 2 and somehow get back the 4, for example, or give up the 2 and somehow get the 5 pick. VJ Edgecombe is going to be a good NBA player, but he doesn't have the intangibles that Harper does. Personal opinion. I like Edgecombe a lot, Joe. And if we got the number 4 pick, if we got Kevin Durant and VJ Edgecombe, I wouldn't be mad at it. I just wouldn't want it necessarily.
You'd be like, it's all right, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go with the number 4 pick and get Konka Nipple, F that, dude.
Hey, look at this that I saw here, Mike. This is something that was interesting to me. Have you seen these reports? And this is by Jonathan Givani. And this is legit, you know? He's saying Ace Bailey starting to slide now at number 6 in their latest mock draft here due to the confluence of influences, including his own refusal to work out for teams in his draft range. The brother thinks that he's better than he actually is, and he's refusing to go ahead and work out for other teams because he wants to be he believes that he's a higher pick. You know, he possibly even thinks he's the number 3 or the number 4 pick. You can't be doing stuff like this because it shows that you're not a team player and you have some type of a complex. That's not attractive to other teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like Shedeur Sanders, right? Isn't that what he's doing? Shedeur Sanders, he fell all the way to the 5th round, right?
Exactly,
now we're not going to see Ace Bailey drop to the 2nd round, right? That's not going to happen.
But his draft stock is dropping.
There is somebody there. Ace Bailey, and I've watched a good fair amount of Rutgers games because Spurs had 2 lottery picks, and I was dreaming in my dreams that we'd get either Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey. So I watched a lot of Rutgers games. Ace Bailey is a very, very gifted and talented athlete. He's just a specimen, right? But he's raw. The guy is raw. Now, he's not raw like Jeremy Sohan coming out of Baylor.
Broken shot.
No, he's different. Like, I believe Ace Bailey is going to be a good NBA player, but it's probably going to take about 3 or 4 years for him to get his feet underneath him. He's not a plug-and-play guy. He's not. He might be very good, but he's going to be a slower burn than I think people think. And you see some names out there like Jeremiah Fears. You see some names out there like Carter Bryant that are rising up, that their draft stock seems to be getting higher and higher and higher.
They also released what they think is their top 5 here are for the upcoming NBA draft. So we'll share that with everybody right now. And again, this is courtesy of Jonathan Givani here of Draft Express. And these are the latest, you know, standings. Yeah. So it's not surprising.
It's not, man. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So if you the hardest pick to have right now is number 3. The 76ers, because they can go like 4 different directions when it comes to it all. They know that Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper are going to be off the board. They know it.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do at 3? Get VJ Edgecombe from Baylor? Dude, VJ Edgecombe, he reminds me of like Clyde Drexler. He just reminds me of like the type of player who is just an easy bucket, dude. Trey Johnson is an easy bucket. I'm going to look at the Ringer player comparisons.
They always got a good spread.
Yeah, so let me see here. Let me see who they have here as their player comparisons, because when I've watched, I watched VJ Edgecombe and I'm like, that's Clyde Drexler. That's somebody who glides into the lane, someone who can attack the basket. Konka Nipple to me is like a Josh Giddey. Trey Johnson to me is kind of like he's a microwave dude, not like Vinny Johnson, but he's more of a Kemba Walker type to me.
He's not a microwave, he's the hot plate.
Yeah. Okay, so here is I'm looking at VJ Edgecombe's comparison.
Okay.
On the Ringer right now. and they say that he is a mix of Derek White, KCP, and Victor Oladipo.
Okay.
Okay, I mean that's fine. I think he's a little bit better than that, but still, that's his player comp. Trey Johnson, Texas guard, scored 20 points per game, 40% from three, like 39.7%. They compare him to Allen Houston. Okay.
Allen Houston from back in the day with the New York Knicks.
New York Knicks.
What was he? He was a bucket getter. He could knock down a shot.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, I mean, he would get really hot. Dare I say he'd be throbbing. Ace Bailey averaged 17.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 34.6 from three. Not bad. Not bad from three. I mean, not good, but not bad. He's considered to be a Danny Granger, Rudy Gay type of guy.
Okay.
Okay? But then you go to Dylan Harper. Why is he the number 2 guy? His player comp, Dylan Harper, who averaged 19.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. His player comparison is James Harden, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that James Harden with like the red flag James Harden, where he's just a douche and he's like that, but and I'm interested in seeing that the number 1 player comparison for Cooper Flag is Scottie Pippen. Interesting.
Hey, you know what? So one of our listeners was kind enough to go ahead and send us a video or a picture, should I say. They wanted us to share here via media share. And they didn't know, you've said this a while back, that Ken's 5 also has an anchor up there, and his name is Michael Jimenez. Jimenez,
so
you know,
so one of the reporters over there. So I hear stories about this because he used to be a KBB, and I was a news reporter at KBB for 5 years, and they tell stories over there about Mike Jimenez, and he would say that that didn't happen to me, and they're going, we're talking about the other Mike Jimenez, right? I have reached out to him a while back. And I asked him to be on the show. He seemed to be okay with it, but I never followed up on it. I would think that would be funny to have 2 Mike Jimenez's on the show at one time.
Yeah, look at that. They say that you have the better haircut, though.
Could be, man. You know, it's so funny. I went and got a haircut yesterday, lowered my ears.
Yeah.
And I normally go to like a Great Clips Supercuts type of place, right? But I went to a legit barber yesterday. Right? It was a nice place over here in Conroe. And the guy was like telling me about my hair. He was like, do you want me to like level this out to like put it with the rest of your this going on right here?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, no, man, don't do that. You'll give me a 5 head. I have most of my hair, and like 99% of it is dark still. I don't want them messing with the hairline.
Oh, God.
I don't care if it's crooked or not. Not going to mess with the hairline.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
I got faded up over the weekend, man. I still got a full hair here on my head, you know, and it gets too long, dude. I was growing a fro. I had a little juke fro growing already on the top of my head, man. It's like, cut it all off, dude. It's so hot out there, man.
Yeah, Jordan Schneider reaches out to him and says, reaches out to us on our stream saying that Shams Ashrani is going to be on the Pat McAfee show at 11:15. Something's dropping, he says.
Hey,
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But the idea that the Spurs are going to give up Castle and give up the number 2 pick, all for a 36-year-old Kevin Durant, makes absolutely no sense. Not whatsoever. No. Now, our good friend, CT, Carolina Teague,
yeah,
posted something that I thought was kind of funny.
Where did she post it? Was it on Insta? Was it on Threads?
On Twitter.
All right.
Ask the question. If the Spurs were to, sorry, give me 1 second. I can't find it, but I'll give you a. She's posted a lot today, so let me paraphrase what she said. She basically asked the question: are the Spurs a good franchise, a template for success, or are we a template for failure? Spurs had 5 championships, right? They had a big 20-year run: 99, 03, 05, 07, and 14. Had the possibility of winning throughout the Kawhi Leonard years when he was here. a great 20-year run. If you want to count the David Robinson years, that's like a 25 to 30-year run. But the Spurs have missed the playoffs 6 years in a row. And was asking the question, when you look at the Spurs, do you picture the Spurs as a successful franchise, or do you consider the Spurs a failing franchise because of what has happened over the past decade? And I found it interesting that there was a comment by somebody who follows us, and he sometimes does very nice comments to me and sometimes not so nice comments to me.
You speaking to Drew?
Spurs, Texans, Astros.
Okay.
He responded to CT, but CT is basically saying that the Spurs are still a symbol of success. He said, if you shout 5 rings longer than a decade, you sound like another delusional fan base that has been shouting that for 30 years. Spurs are no longer the same organization they were back in 2014. Unfortunately, the championship pedigree died once Tim Duncan walked off the floor. I repost that by asking the question, wait, are Spurs fans starting to sound like Cowboy fans who still bask in the glory of what happened 30 years ago?
You know who hates that? Tony Ornelas. He hates when I do the comparison between Spur fan and Cowboy fan. He's like, the Spurs are not the Cowboys. I'm like, really? Y'all act like them. You act like the fan base. Still delusional about, oh, we won a chip back when, and they haven't been relevant for the past 6 seasons, man. Y'all living in the past.
Well, I mean, Bill Simmons of the Ringer has always said that if your team wins a championship, you can't bitch for 10 years. That once 10 years passes and you haven't won a chip, you could bitch again, right? So do you buy into that? You win a ring, 10 years. That's a 10-year moratorium of you don't criticize, right?
What is it? It's like the drop-off, right? You're going out near the ocean, and you're just hanging out by the beach, and then you hit that drop-off, and it's steep. That's what happened with the Spurs. They won that chip, and then after that, once Timmy left, that drop-off was steep.
Well, it's been 11 years, right? The drop-off, as you say, happens, Joe.
Happened quick.
But our good friend John Dyer is there's 2 things that John Dyer said on Twitter yesterday that made me think about it. One was, remember we said that we're no longer going to say he doesn't know ball because that's like a stupid line.
I love that saying, dude.
People have gravitated into, well, you're just a casual. Calling someone a casual.
Look at Tony Ornelas. The Cowboys win a championship in 2014.
But isn't that what Cowboy fans do all the time? We got 5 chips. We got 5 rings. Dude, it's been 30 years since the last one.
It's been a while, bro.
Shut the fuck up. It's been longer than a generation, Joe. Cowboy fans can't be sitting there on, well, we have 5 rings.
Vamos para la Super Bowl.
We're a better franchise than the Eagles. Right? Cowboys are better than the Eagles because
this is our year, baby. This is our year. I got the hat and everything ready to go, man.
The Eagles, because the Eagles have, because I was going back and forth with our good friend John Dyer. He's hosted this show before. He's filled in for me before. They asked the question, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? And he responded, nope. And I responded, yep. Been to those Super Bowl twice in 3 years.
I'm going to say, you know what? You can go ahead and say he's not a top 5 quarterback all you want, but you know what? You can't discount that he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And
they didn't win. They didn't win despite of him. They won because of him, right?
Yeah, they won.
And the comment back was, well, he was middle of the pack when it came to yards and things like that. Well, you had Saquon Barkley, man. Your biggest weapon's your running back. Of course you're going to be middle of the pack when it comes to it all. But going back to the whole thing about Cowboy fan and Spurs fan, the whole 5 chips rings hollow after a while. It's still fun as a Spurs fan to say that, and I suppose you can keep saying that for another 4 more years, right? I'm going to call it in 15 years. 2029 has to be the cutoff date for Spurs fans to say, we have 5 chips. At that point, it's like, yeah, but that was a generation ago.
This is the thing, man. Spurs fans live in the past because this team hasn't been worth the shit for the last 6 seasons. They haven't even gotten to the play-in game. And it's been a lot of factors, injuries, what have you. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, man, you just don't have the talent to compete with the better teams in the NBA. You can't say that, oh, this team has the championship DNA. They have that championship pedigree. They don't. They don't have nothing. They don't even have an identity right now.
Right.
Nothing. They have to figure it out all over again. And we do got an incoming super chat from the Drew Show that we got to address here. Thank you, Drew.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you for that $5 super chat. And look at he's saying something to you, Mike.
Yeah. So it says Mike putting so much into scout player comps. 1, player comps are Cap. 2, Scottie Pippen. Majority of these guys only seen Pip on YouTube video. But the thing is that the person making the comparisons, thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way. The person's making the comparisons have seen Scottie Pippen play. And Cooper Flagg is going to be a very good NBA player, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
He will be an all-star within 2 seasons. He's going to be a very, very good NBA player. Dylan Harper will be as well. They're both going to be stellar players. That's why Spurs fans, have to stop getting in their feels about Castle, because Castle might lose minutes, man. Vassell might be gone. Keldon might be gone. Eventually, De'Aaron Fox might be gone. Not because any of us are mean or because it's just the business. It's because Dylan Harper is going to be better than them. That's simply put. And real fast, I saw a comment here from JHNSB saying 5 chips is irrelevant when the staff, the coach, and the players who got those rings are no longer with the franchise. That's exactly it. Because
it's a whole new roster,
especially for the Cowboys, right? Troy, Michael, and Emmett are not going to walk in the door anymore. It's been 30 years since they have. So it's just kind of weird, man. Kind of weird.
And Tony Ornelas was going off on me. He was all caps with his comment. He hates when I draw comparisons between the Spur fan and Cowboy fan, but there are some.
There are. $5 super chat coming in from Sam Salinas.
Yeah, we do. We got another one coming in. Let me go ahead and get to it. I'm trying to get to all these super chats as fast as I can. Let me go ahead and turn this one off. I got to go back now. All right, there we are. Now we can go ahead and bring his
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Sam, thank you so much for the donation. Says only difference between the Spurs and Cowboys is Spurs realistically know a chip won't be won. Cowboys until recently thought every year was the year. And Cowboy fans right now are so talking themselves into it. And you know why they're doing this, Joe? You know that Fox News Channel and CNN are bullshit, right? I mean, they are there to say what they need to say because they're speaking to a certain crowd, right? ESPN is hyping up the Cowboys so much this offseason because what they don't want is for Cowboy fans to check out before the season started. It is in the NFL's best interest for Cowboy fans to be optimistic. It is in the NFL's best interest for Cowboy fans to think that they have a shot at winning the NFC East, that they have a shot of winning a Super Bowl, making a run, whatever the case may be. So I go on and I watch Greeny, Get Up. I watch First Take. I'll watch, the show that Joy Taylor does. I'll watch the shows Colin Cowherd and all that. They are all hyping up the Dallas Cowboys. Look at what they did with the draft. They brought in George Pickens, and Dak Prescott's going to come back from injury. And look at they drafted some offensive linemen who are going to be good replacements for X, Y, and Z. And look who they got in the running back. They got Jadon Blue, all that stuff, right? They're hyping up the Cowboys because they need to get Cowboy fans excited. Joe, you know what's going to end up happening this year? They're going to go 7-10. You know why? Because that team sucks.
Vamos para la Super Bowl, Mike.
And we're all going to be sitting
Behind
here in November, right around Thanksgiving, going, man, I thought this team was going to be better. ESPN hyped them up. Suckers, all of y'all, man. Look at that roster. That's a basura roster right now.
Everybody's hating that comparison that I made between Spur fan and Cowboy fan so much. We're going to have to give some words to our sponsor here, MCS General Contracting. And we come back, I might be sporting a new hat.
Jesse A. I watched Joy Taylor for the plot. Why does she get so much hate? She's good, dude. I will say this: when it comes to sports takes, solid sports takes, Joy Taylor is upper echelon when it comes to it all. And people bag on her because she's hot.
Nah, I think they bag on her because
I don't
annoying.
Dude, she's good at what she does, man. Her takes are spot on.
Yeah, but she just becomes annoying.
She's top tier when it comes to takes. Annoying's Molly Qerim. We're gonna go female sports personality. Molly Qerim sucks.
She's just the moderator, bro.
Dude, but even when she's given a take, I did like the other day when she was telling Stephen A. Smith to put down his laptop. I don't know if you saw that clip.
Yeah, I don't watch ESPN.
Oh, so Stephen A. Smith, they were doing First Take, and he was like, she was like closing his computer, because they did a back shot. You know how they're like in a horseshoe, and they had a camera go behind Stephen A. Smith, and you could see his laptop, and he had all his contacts and the contacts, phone numbers, and text messages on his screen. So she was like, turn that down. Hey, let's give some love to our good friends at MCS General Contracting with that.
No.
See, it says MCS General Contracting.
And what else does it say?
What are they known for, Joe? What are they known for?
The Diamond Hard Concrete, baby.
That's right.
There it is.
Some love.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. And there you go. And we back, man. You know what?
How about them Cowboys?
Two super chats in the house. We got one from Tex-Mex Frank and one from the Drew Show. Another one from the Drew Show. Tex-Mex Frank, let's see what he has to say.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
All right, there you go. Tex-Mex Frank, he say, Mike bad-mouthing Cowboys, get him a chancla.
Oh, why is it a chancla, dude? I know he's paying for the chancla. He'll get the chancla. But I have maintained that the Cowboys drafted very well this year, but these are all rookies, and it's going to take a while for them to cook. George Pickens, good player, but at the end of the day, who's your quarterback? Empty calorie throwing Dak Prescott, man. Empty calories, those yards don't count. Jaden, you look at Jaden Daniels or you say Jalen Hurts and you go, oh, well, they're middle of the pack when it comes to yards thrown. Dude, Dak Prescott throws up all these stats, and they're all empty calorie stats when no one is – he's kind of like Sohan shooting three-pointers in an empty gym. That is Dak Prescott. They fall behind, and then he has 80 yards going into the fourth quarter. Then he ends the game with 330 because he played against a prevent defense in the fourth.
You know what?
I will maintain that the Cowboys suck. They're a 7-win team.
You know what? At least we have a quarterback, man. I don't know what the Saints are doing, dude. They're going
to
be this season, brother.
I'm not delusional enough to think that we're going to be a good team. We're tanking for Arch, baby. Let's make it happen. This is an exciting year.
You're going to be tanking for a future pick.
It doesn't have to be Arch. 2026 NFL draft is supposedly loaded with NFL talent when it comes to quarterbacks, man. And this is the importance, by the way, Joe, of getting your guy. Because New Orleans was picking at 10, I believe, that one year that Patrick Mahomes was drafted.
Yeah.
And they were waiting for Patrick Mahomes to drop to them. And Sean Payton has said this, that they have the card written out for Patrick Mahomes to be a Saint. And you saw Kansas City jump up to number 9 to get him. You go get your guy in the NFL. Because if without a quarterback, you suck. Saints don't have a quarterback, therefore they suck. And guess who else doesn't have a quarterback, Joe?
Who?
The Cowboys.
You know what? They might have a better backup quarterback than they have a starting quarterback. You know?
Could be.
And if Dak wants to F around and find out, the brother might be out of a job.
Cowboys are stuck with Dak for a good while, man. Doesn't mean he's going to be the starter, but he's around there for a while. But they paid for the chancla. Let's get the chancla.
There you go. And we got to address the other super chat that we have incoming here.
Ooh, 10 bones coming in from the Drew Show.
Yeah, 10 bones coming in from Drew Show. Let me go ahead and get to that. And here we go.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Says, remember, Mike, you wanted to trade for Giannis until he didn't. LOL. Now he glazing. All your Spurs fans and new Cowboy fans is off. After 30 years of no chips, Spurs are what? Are gone. Still simping for Jerry. Okay, I'm not simping for Jerry. Thank you for the support of the show, Drew. I don't simp for Jerry because I don't like that team. I don't buy into that franchise. And I firmly believe that if they go another 10 years without winning a Super Bowl, don't even get to a conference championship, they have to relinquish the title, America's team. They have to actually go up. That has to be like whoever the president of the United States is in 2035 needs to say executive order, Cowboys are no longer America's team because America's team can't be a losing franchise.
No mames otra vez. No mames, Mike. Mike's just jealous because you know what? The Cowboy merch is nice, bro.
Yeah, those colors don't run and they don't pass for shit either.
Nice. Sporting my new hat.
But the whole Giannis thing, of course everybody wants Giannis, dude. Everybody does. Sipping for a top 5 player in the NBA? Of course I would. Of course I would.
And we got another incoming super chat here that we're getting to now from Tony Ornalis. Thanks, Tony.
Money talk.
Oh, nice.
Here comes the money.
And here he comes.
Says, give Joe a chocolate comparing Spurs to Cowboys. Clickbait. Spurs won a chip in 2014. Cowboys haven't won since the 90s. Give up slippery finger, Joe.
He hates it when I compare the Cowboys to the San Antonio Spurs fan, but there are comparisons there.
The fan bases and the organizations are very comparable.
Let's play the chancla.
You know, I want to talk a little bit of pop culture and something that it's not so much pop culture, but I think it's kind of funny. But before we get into that, let's talk about Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs, and Kens 5. Talk some pop culture on the other side because a Area 210 favorite might be going down the drain when it comes to looks. Chica says so. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Kens 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
More than 7,500 subscribers strong, my man.
Yeah, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Locked On Spurs podcast for your daily Spurs content, and also make sure that you go and follow Jeff Garcia over at Jeff G Spurs Zone on the X.
What's he got going on his Twitter Twitter page today, man? We have a lot going on.
Jeff Garcia actually posted this picture here, and I thought it was funny, man. So he's saying that Victor Wemby, he's giving a Wemby update, and he says Wemby in China follows his strength coach directions. So apparently Wemby and his strength coach have made a homemade ice bath. So the Shaolin monks have allowed Wemby's strength coach to accompany him here on the facility. So I guess Wemby's trying to go ahead and do something for his conditioning and jump in an ice bath. I don't see no basketball.
Have you ever done an ice bath, Joe?
I have. It's quite a shock to the system, but I got to tell you, it is refreshing, bro. It helps the muscles.
It does, man. In fact, when I had my issue with my knee, you think, oh, I'm just gonna take a hot shower, I'm gonna take a warm bath. No, you have to get cold in order for your muscles to respond and your inflammation to go away. So that's why you see them get into cold baths and whatnot after games. It's to alleviate the tension in your muscles and things like that. Question about pop culture, Joe. Our good friend Jeff Garcia got to interview Mira Sorvino the other day, got to interview Danny Trejo. Chica and I were talking last night, and she showed me these photos, and we're kind of hanging out. And she was saying that she bought this cream. You know, she gives me creams to put on my face and whatnot, and she gets her own. Girls have their routines, right? Especially the cute ones. They have their routines where they go off and they do their skincare and all that stuff, the anti-aging stuff and whatnot, right? So she says that she wanted to get a cream that Salma Hayek uses.
Okay.
Salma Hayek, the winner of the 2024 Baddie Brackets. And she believes that Salma Hayek is the most beautiful woman in the world, right?
Okay.
This is Chica's opinion. She's like, Latinas, Sofia Vergara, she loves them, right? She's like the hottest. So she says that Salma Hayek uses this cream that only costs like $10 or $12 and that she swears by it, right? But Chica was looking at photos of Salma Hayek last night, like recent photos.
Hey.
And she was like, oh my God, she's effing herself up. Joe, Chica's worried about Salma Hayek using Ozempic.
No, bro.
Saying it's effing up her face.
They're
Is
showing
this
some
true?
pictures.
Is Ozempic going to kill Salma Hayek? Salma Hayek, by the way, is 58 years old, is on the cover of the SI swimsuit edition this year. She's the cover girl. But Chica swears, because Chica follows Salma Hayek pretty closely. She swears that something's going on with her face the last 2 or 3 months, and she blames Ozempic because she has friends. Okay, first of all, you do realize that that's like not photoshopped, airbrushed to death, right? SI is,
Bro.
SI does. SI airbrushes.
She looked good to me.
Oh, body wise, she's amazing. But you realize that SI airbrushes the living crap out of things, right? She saw some photos from the Golden Globes this year, which was just recently, where she was saying that Ozempic is killing her face. That she's getting Ozempic face. That would be sad. Because that's the whole thing. Ozempic, it used to be, oh, well, if you're diabetic, you take Ozempic to kind of like lose weight so that, to fight off diabetes and whatnot. There is a pushback on that, dude. There are side effects. Some of the side effects is it changes the structure of your face. It changes the structure of your back. It does different things to your skin. And she goes, oh, my God, I would hate for Ozempic to do in Salma Hayek.
Nah, man. Salma Hayek's still a nugget, bro. Still a nugget. Look at this Drew show. It says, why would she be on Ozempic? She was never fat. Stop.
Well, she is. Well, she is on Ozempic, dude.
Everybody in the chat getting cochino.
So okay, so talk about cream, the topicals and all that you use, right? Chica has me, and I'm not faithful to it 100% of the time, but I do use it a couple times a week. There is this, I don't know, it's supposed to like moisturize your skin. It's like an oil, and she gets me that, and there's like these creams to put on, sunscreen. She goes, yeah, helps you look younger, right? There's some facts to it all. There's a reason why that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, because that's the whole point of it all.
Oh man, beauty's big business, man.
Truso says his Chica says so it is. Damn straight. That is factual. Chica loves her some Salma Hayek, though, man. She thinks she's beautiful. Last night we were watching TV. We were watching Grown Ups. Love Grown Ups, right?
Yeah.
Chica's celebrity crush is Adam Sandler.
The guy looks like a sack of potatoes, bro. Really?
She can quote The Water Boy cover to cover. Kind of funny, Joe.
You know what's funny to me, man? We forget about this. Not funny, but you remember where you were at on this specific time and date. Years ago, when you saw the infamous white Bronco, man. It's been 31 years ago today, Mike. The world watched as O.J. Simpson led authorities on a chase that ended with him turning himself in at his home in Brentwood, California. I remember I was in high school in class, and they were showing this live on the TV. Everybody was so enthralled by watching it. and you just saw OJ, and it was his best friend. I forgot his name that was driving the OJ with OJ.
AC Collins.
AC Collins, and OJ was in the back of the Bronco, kind of laying down indiscriminately, and it was the slowest police chase I've ever seen in my life, man. They couldn't have been doing more than 50, right?
This happened during the NBA Finals involving the Knicks and the Rockets, right? So
It was during the day.
It was at night. It was during the day over there. It was at nighttime because the Knicks and Rockets game was on. Famously, Bob Costas paused the NBA Finals. They stopped showing the NBA Finals to show this instead. So they had a picture-in-picture moment there because it was in June. So so school's out in June. Maybe you were in summer school. I don't know.
No, I was at school for something. It wasn't for summer school. We're doing something else. I don't know. It was some type of maybe prep or something for like college or something like that. I remember I was there at the school while this was going on, and then we're kind of watching it. They put it up on the screen. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Have I told you the tall tale of what I was doing when this all happened?
No.
I broke up with my first girlfriend. At her house. Okay, so I was at my first girlfriend. She and I started dating in high school, like my freshman year of high school. And so this is 31 years ago. So it was 94. So that was, I guess I was a sophomore, right? A sophomore or junior then. And I broke up with her. We were at her house and we broke up. Like we decided we're not going to date anymore. I broke up with her. So she didn't break up with me. I broke up with her. And this comes out on the TV and I turn up the volume. And I stood there the entire time watching this whole thing go on while she cried.
And what did you say?
I don't give a damn.
And you know what? You sat there and you watched this damn thing happening, bro.
Yeah.
After you broke up with her.
Yeah, I'm just going to hang out here in the living room. Put it up. Brian Gumble, do your thing.
This is ridiculous, man. I remember watching this live and I'm like, what is going on, man? And then like every pass, like underpass they went over, right? Went under. They had the signs, go OJ. I was just like, damn, man.
How did they quickly get those signs done? I mean, they had to have had the poster board on hand.
I don't know, man. I have no idea. Look at that. They're saying cap.
Stop the cap.
No, man. I that story was so funny, man. Her house, she lived behind the Cinemark on kind of like where the Home Depot is there. What's that? Before you get to Evers and 410 or past Evers and 410. So the up in the hill. Yeah, dude, we broke up. She spent the afternoon with an ex-boyfriend and I got mad. And she's like, "Oh, he goes to my church," and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
We were just praying, Mike.
Yeah, like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm good.
We were just praying. Miss Parker, remember that from Friday?
Miss Parker,
we're just praying. And then that little midget came and put a brick through his damn window. Ooh, hey, man, that little brother wasn't playing, Mike.
Yeah, can you imagine watching the NBA Finals, your team making it, and they turn the channel to OJ instead?
The juice is loose.
People don't realize that OJ Simpson. Oh my God, I'm watching the Pat McAfee show right now, and they're showing the video from Spurs Interact 11 where they're talking about Shams Charania looking at the screen when they mention the Spurs. Dude, Pat McAfee's talking about that right now.
That's ridiculous, dude. Because they're probably trying to get him to say something.
Shams is laughing about it. Shams is there saying that he didn't do anything about it, that it wasn't a giveaway. He's laughing at the comments. That's how they greeted Shams Charania, was they showed that clip, slow mode. Oh, that's funny, dude. Shams is denying it.
He can deny it all he wants, man.
Yeah, that was a tell.
There's something amiss there, man.
That was a tell.
We got to give some love here to our boy Elias. He's doing his new podcast here. It's called Plead the Sith. He's going to go live today at 7:30 p.m. on Sweep the League TV. It's on YouTube, so you can go ahead and subscribe to their YouTube channel, and make sure you go out there and give our boy some love there as he does his new endeavor here called Plead the Sith.
Yeah, it was a good show for the first one. He gave me crap because I said I was watching it in the shower.
That's nasty. That's gross, bro.
I didn't go, oh my God, Plead the Sith is on. Let me go take a shower real fast. I was going to go take a shower. It was 7 o'clock was when the show started. I didn't want to miss it. I had to take a shower because I was going out. So I brought the phone into the shower and I watched the first 15, 20 minutes in there while lathering up. What more? What more needs to be said?
Tony Ornales is sending me something through the media share, and then he's saying, I went through Chat GPT, and here's the answer, Joe. And it's a big old paragraph of comparisons and it says, you are absolutely right to push back on the comparison of the San Antonio Spurs and Dallas Cowboys. They are very different in terms of organizational culture and leadership. You can tell me, you can send me anything you want. Cowboy fans are similar to San Antonio Spurs fans. You both are delusional, living in the past. Say less.
But you still cheer for the Cowboys, man.
I still cheer for the Cowboys. I got my
cheer
hat
for the
on right
Cowboys. Sham Sharani is still trying to talk about what he was his facial impressions there. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, Joe.
now. Look at this. Sam Salinas says, damn it, Joe. He goes, I'm working out and almost dropped a dumbbell on my head. That shit was funny. We was just praying. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
I watched the show in the shower.
Joe, didn't you have like a percentages of people who watch this show on big screen?
Yeah, dude, it was odd, man. It's like I never realized like how much consumption of our let's say content that people watch on the TV, man.
Yeah.
It was eye-opening to say the least. You know, it's like I know some people watch us, you know, on TV and whatnot on the big screen instead of just, you know, maybe a tablet or phone. Phone is king right now, you know, mobile devices. But when I started looking at the actual stats and I was like, okay, how do they consume our content here? I was like, really? I didn't think about that, you know, in terms of how it's being consumed, you know? I'll go ahead and show that here. It says content and how it's being shown. And one of the stats that they had was how much people watch us like on a TV, like devices and whatnot. And it was like over 2,300, something like that watch us on the TV. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I would have never thought that, Mike.
It's funny because you never know who watches the show. You never know how often it's being watched or where it's being watched. I had one of our listeners tell us that it's listed at their work, that they have our show on the overhead at their work so that people can hear it in mass. So it might come out as only one person watching the show on the YouTube stream, but 30 people are listening to it. You and I have gone to a bar before where it's on in the background, a replay of the show on in the background. That's kind of funny. I've gone. Chica laughed because I went to Wells Fargo. I went to Wells Fargo to go get. Dude, I left your house. This was a few weeks ago. I left from your house to Wells Fargo to go make a deposit, and I'm in the lobby, and the guy helping me goes, "Yeah, we're just listening to your show." And he was like talking about the show, and I was like, "That's interesting. You're working at a Wells Fargo branch." Found that to be funny.
You know, look at this. He says, new warning from the U.S. government traveling to the Dominican Republic, Mike. He goes, you and Chica should need to be very careful. Read it so you'll, guess keep safe.
Yeah, to know which places to avoid. Yeah, so we're going to go on Friday. And, we're going to stay at the resort. I think we're going to have one excursion out. I think we're going to do an ATV type of thing. I've never driven an ATV, so hopefully I come back fully intact. But was Mike throbbing in the shower? Pause. That's
You
what
know
Chica's for.
They were making fun of you because they were saying, you know what they should get, Mike? He's like, are you watching in the shower because you have one of those little devices that suction cups to the tile of the shower,
Oh,
and you put
so
your phone in there?
Chica has a suction cup thing that hangs like it hangs like her loofah and her whatever, and I could just put my phone and rest it on there just like that. So I'm lathering up. Do you ever forget to rinse your hair?
No, man, never.
Dude, I've done that like twice in the last month, Joe, where I come back home and she goes like, "You have shampoo all over your hair." Not just like a little bit, like the entire hair is covered in
Yeah.
shampoo. I forgot to rinse. And then she gets mad sometimes. Doesn't get mad, but like I get into bed and I didn't dry my hair off very well. And she goes, "You're gonna soul glow the back of the bed, leave the wet spot."
God. Chica keeping it real for you, Mike.
I told her, she says just 2 more trips this year, right? Actually, and then now she's adding a third.
Only 2 more?
Dominican Republic this week, and then next month we're gonna go to Miami again. Her daughter goes to college over there.
Yeah.
It's a ceremony for the medical people who she's going to become a physician's assistant. The medical people get their white robes. The doctors and PAs get their white robes. They're given their white robe, and that's a big old ceremony for it all. Because then they go off. Their schooling at school is over. Now they go into the hospitals and clinics for the rest of their education. So, be pretty cool.
Yeah, like I'll show you. Like I think it's just the stats that I have for probably like this month or something like that. I'm gonna show you how you all consume our content. So this is it. Just like the last 28 days, it's like mobile phone is king, right? And then here's the TV right here, dude. I'm like,
nice.
That's crazy, dude. And then they have the computer and tablet. But I'm just like, threw me for a loop, because when we're looking at how many people have watched, it shows you on another stat. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of people that have watched on the TV. Like I said, it just blew my mind. I never thought, that many people will watch on the TV until we start hearing things from the listeners. And they're like, yeah, we watch you on the TV. I watch you on my TV. I'm like, okay, cool. So we got to make sure the content looks good for the big screen.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Shams Charania is still on right now, dropping his knowledge.
Reported something. Sam's just reported that Miami and Houston are more likely and realistic destinations for KD.
That basically means that they're willing to give him their top first round pick. So let's see. Shams Charania reporting that he didn't tweet it though.
Yeah, I guess he's saying that on the Pat McAfee show right now.
Let's see here. Shams Charania. Heat Diehards is reporting that Charania says that Houston and Miami more realistic options than the Spurs right now. But that Minnesota's really trying. I guess, the thing is that you look at it, Joe. The problem is that not only do we have a lottery pick at number 14, but we also have other teams do. The Rockets have a pick in the lottery as well. So NBA draft just 8 days away. I just want it to be over, Joe. I want it to be over. My emotions swing back and forth when it comes to Kevin Durant because I would love to have him. But the fact of the matter is that if it doesn't happen, the Spurs are still in a pretty decent position getting Dylan Harper.
And look at this. Spernandez, our boy Spernandez, he's watching while he's at work too. And he's watching what Shams Charania is saying over on the Pat McAfee show.
Mm-hmm.
And he went ahead and retweeted this, and he says, Shams just said the Spurs may be holding on to their assets for an even bigger star.
Who's a bigger star?
Who knows?
Giannis is the only bigger star that could potentially be available.
We're about to find out.
Houston Rockets picking at 10. Again, that's giving Phoenix back their own picks. because that used to belong to Phoenix. Houston can conceivably say, we're going to give you your future back, just like the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner back in the day. Interesting. Joe, I got to – yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, what I was going to find interesting is we're going to talk about this tomorrow, but there's some news that came out about the future of streaming and possibly a Goliath, a conglomerate that's growing right here. We're going to go ahead and talk about that in tomorrow's show.
Yeah. Who's coming in on Friday, Joe?
I don't know. I know that I'm going to be taking the day off on Thursday. So Thursday, we're not going to have a show because I forgot that I have Juneteenth, the holiday, off from work. So I'm off Thursday. So I'm going to enjoy the day. Probably go take my little niece swimming somewhere, maybe to a pool or something, because she wants me to go and spend some time with her. So I'm going to go and hang out with her for a little bit and do the uncle thing,
Very nice.
And then probably spend some time with my kids, and they want to go and eat lunch or something. So I'm just going to take it easy and, have a good time with the family on that day. But I don't know what we're going to do on Friday. When's the draft, by the way?
The draft is next Wednesday.
Okay, next Wednesday. I know I'll be working, but I think you're going to be busy too.
Well, I have my kid. This is my time of the year to have my daughter, so that's why I can't have a draft party this year. I mean, I can do a podcast that night.
Yeah.
If you want to turn the lights on and we could do a react, I mean, I could potentially do that. But
yeah, we could do that.
Very cool. Well, fellas, I got to go sling those investments, man. I got a ton of investments to do right now. In fact, being called right now about it. Everyone have a fantastic day. We will be back tomorrow.
Yep.
Go
See you all
Spurs,
tomorrow.
go.
Peace.